Hello and welcome. So, another amazing wildcard weekend. It honestly was. It was a super wildcard weekend. Not to be that guy, but it was honestly really awesome. A lot of good games, a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's just hop right in. For when it comes to the, well, actually, before I get into that, channel-wise, I do have some nice stuff that's upcoming for the near future. Hopefully for Super Bowl, we'll get a new background. So all this stops with my face cutting out and the hair looking dumb and everything. Along with that, I might do an extra show during the Super Bowl week just to go over some more stuff. And then, yeah, for this week, basically just to go over real quick, I'm just going to preview everything that happened the wild card weekend. Obviously, you can see what the matchups are, so I'll talk a little bit about it. But basically, today's just going to be a recap day. Might be a little bit shorter than usual just because, there's not 32 NFL teams to talk about anymore. So not going to put it. This might be a little bit shorter. Like I said, it could end up being just normal. I have no idea yet, but I'm gonna cut out the. Basically, I'm gonna cut the preview to basically 2 to 3 sentences about each team before the game, so that way the Thursday episode is gonna be full breakdown. I'll dive into bets. I'll dive into what to expect for the game and everything, and then yeah. So basically, it's just a recap day today. So let's just hop right into it. So starting out with San Francisco, Seattle. This game was close basically until the fourth quarter. Seattle put up a good fight, but it just wasn't their year, honestly. I mean, Seattle just ran into a San Franciscan juggernaut, basically. The San Francisco team is really, really good. I think Brock Purdy is really good. I really like him as a quarterback. I think he's going to be their quarterback of the future, and he's 11-0, or not 11-0. Actually, not 100% sure what his record is. I just know he's undefeated, and the 49ers themselves are 11-0 since McCaffrey came over. He has 1,100 yards, and yeah, every game he started, they basically been undefeated. They lost the one game he came in part-time, I think, and then past that, they've won every single game since. This team just has too many stars. Brock Purdy's been doing really good at protecting the ball and just getting it to the good spots that he needs to. So yeah, overall, I think this is just Seattle. They had a good chance. Like I said, they hung around the game as long as they could, and then fourth quarter just got a little too much for them, and honestly, they played as good as they could. This is the third time these two matched up. Seattle would get swept into the season series, and really good. It was a really good and impressive win by San Francisco. They put 41 up again. It feels like they're doing that with consistency now, and yeah, I just mean Seattle's defense wasn't going to be able to hold up all day on them, and then defensively, San Francisco was one of, if not the best in football, if I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be a tough assignment for those guys to deal with. So yeah, now Seattle, San Fran will move on to Dallas. I'll touch that game a little bit later, but I mean, with the way San Francisco's looking, it's gonna be hard for any team to beat them, I feel like. Next we got the Jacksonville Chargers game. I mean, that was what a game. I mean, if you would have listened to the announcers, you thought it would have been the thousandth, millionth. You would have thought it would have been just an average old comeback. Al Michaels definitely was not clocking 94, 95 on that fastball on Saturday. Probably hitting a smooth 88, 89. And Tony Dungy, love him as a personality, love him as a football person around football, but play-by-play, he's there all right, I guess. I mean, this is one of the first games in a while. I'm a big announcer guy. Just to name a few of them, like I said, Ian Eagle, Mark Jackson, Gus Johnson. I mean, I'm a big announcers guy. There's so many announcers I just love. And I'm so mad I can't remember this guy's name. I just tried to look it up. Whoever announced the TCU Baylor game, those two, I love that dude. I mean, I'm a big announcer guy, so the fact that I just basically turned off this announcing crew and I really didn't pay attention to it, yeah. I mean, like I said, I love Al Michaels too and everything, and there's so many more announcers I love that I didn't name, obviously, but it was just one of those games where the broadcasters didn't have their A game, but it was a really exciting game. Chargers blew a 27-0 lead, and man, it's just another year where they have a really good roster, and it's just very disappointing. It looks like more and more the Staley's going to keep his job. They just fired Joe Lombardi, so the way they made it, there was a report that they basically were going to clean staff and leave Staley, and now they're starting to look like it's going to be more of a true thing. And I don't mind it. I mean, if they could have had a chance to get Sean Payton, I would definitely get Sean Payton. But with the issue with their ownership being a little I don't want to say poor because they're NFL owners, they're super rich, but being one of the poorer. But yeah, with them not being the most lucrative of NFL owners, I mean, paying Sean Payton might become a bit of an issue, and he might get like bought, especially when there's people like Denver who need a coach for sure. Chargers don't exactly need one, but they would like the upgrade, I'm sure. But like Denver really needs one, and they got a lot of money. So yeah, basically, I mean, so Staley's probably going to stay. I mean, he's only been there 2 years, and they have improved each of the 2 years. But man, yeah, that defense was hot buns on Saturday. They gave up. After forcing Trevor Lawrence into like 4 interceptions and 5 turnovers in total on defensive special teams for the Chargers, they let him walk down the field. And yeah, I can't remember what the stat was exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was basically like 4 or 5 of the drives were all touchdowns in the second half. 4 or 5 of the possessions were touchdowns, and the last one was a field goal that won it. I mean, inexcusable, honestly. Just awful, awful. Yeah, I just can't go anymore. I was on the Charger side, obviously, so that's pretty frustrating. But it's really cool to see like a comeback like that because, I mean, you never know what to expect, honestly, from the NFL. The only thing that sucks, though, now is, personally for me, I've now lost. Betting-wise, got blown out by the Colts, where I had them up 33-0 in the Vikings game, and all of a sudden they somehow lose that game, and now I'm on another side of one where Chargers up 27-0 and somehow blow that. And this will just lead me into this game because I'll brush up to it quickly. You know, Tom Brady down 18-0 with 3 extra points. I threw a little bit on that. I'm like, you know what? Maybe Tom won't go out like a punk. And boy, was that Monday night game trash. Hot garbage. Put in any word you want to put in. I mean, the Cowboys, I can't even put in the sentences how bad they beat the Bucs down. I mean, Bucs didn't deserve to be in the playoffs to begin with as a 6-8 team, but someone had to win the division, so they ended up being the winners, and it showed how bad the NFC South was. The Bucs got absolutely destroyed by a team who was just way better than they were, honestly. I mean, it was no contest, 31-6 sometime in the fourth quarter. It finished being 31-14, but I mean, I'm not even going to talk really much about this game. I loved what Dallas did. They were the better team, and they didn't let the Bucs hang around. Dak did bad his first, I think 3 pass attempts. He went 0 for 3, and then after that, he just absolutely torched them. And, you know, the Bucs just seemed like they didn't even want to be there, honestly, at one point. And Tom Brady just looked awful. He just had the mile-long stare all night of just looking like he didn't know what was going on. And I just can't believe that happened. That was just honestly shocking. Like, if that's Tom Brady's last game, that's going to be something awful. I'm going to remember that forever. And this was just an awful season for the man, dude. I'm definitely up there in the Tom Brady hater club because I'm an Indianapolis Colts fan, obviously, as you can tell. But man, do you not want to see stuff like this happen? Where it's like he was 7-0 against the Cowboys, now 7-1. Never lost in the first round, now he did. Never had a losing season, now he did. It's just like, man, you hate to see this stuff because obviously he has a really good track record, but you get towards the bottom of that track record now, it's a little greasy, a little dusty, and it's just bad, yeah. Now, with them losing, I don't remember if I said this on the podcast or one of my articles, but I was talking about how now there's going to be a huge future ahead for the Dallas if they lose or if the Bucs if they lose. Because now that the Bucs lost, Tom Brady's future's in question. There's apparently some, after the press conference, he made it sound like he might be done. I haven't watched it, so I don't know. I would just think, personally, Tom Brady comes back for at least one more year because he wouldn't want to end on that garbage. But, man, I could not tell you, bro. It's tragic, basically, what happened to the Bucs. They just got mollywopped and beat down, got dunked on. I mean, they were basically Jason Terry against LeBron James. That's what happened. I mean, I think that's the dude's name. I can't even remember that LeBron dunk now against it. It was a LeBron dunk against the Celtics. I'm like 99% sure that's Jason Terry. I'm not going to look it up because of ego. I think I got it right. So we're just going to move on. If I'm wrong, hey, you know what I'm talking about. You know what dunk I'm talking about. To move on then, I guess that covers Saturday and Monday. So we got the bread part of the sandwich in. So let's go to the meat. I think Sunday was a really awesome viewing day. Personally, I got absolutely rocked betting-wise Sunday, but game-watching-wise, I thought it was really exciting. Other than the Bills taking 4 hours to finish, it felt like there were too many bad drops in that game. That was another game where it's just like, what in the hell are they doing? Buffalo up 17-0. Could have gone up, I think, like 24-0, basically. They called the guy out of bounds. Josh Allen ends up throwing an interception. And all of a sudden, 17-17 at half. And I'm like, what is this? What is going on? And then game ended up finishing with the Bills winning 34-31. A lot of missed calls, a lot of iffy calls, a lot of bad football play by Josh Allen. I mean, I could go on this game for hours and just some of the dumb stuff I saw. I mean, I'm so mad at myself, too. I bet Bills -6.5. Knew it was wrong. The gut was telling me all week, you are an idiot. Don't bet that. Don't give it out. You shouldn't trust it. Don't trust it. I just ignored the gut, man. And I'm like, the Bills should win this by 7 easily. It's a third-string quarterback for the Dolphins. Like, you should not be standing a chance in this game. And sure enough, they had like 200-some yards of offense and 31 points. Josh Allen had 3 bad turnovers that I think all 3 basically led the points. That fumble to start the second half, man, I just felt like an idiot. I watched Josh Allen rip a smelling salt before he went on the field, so I tweeted something funny about how he was going to dominate, and he literally fumbled and gave the Dolphins a touchdown on defense the very next play. So it's either that or a 3-and-out. Couldn't even remember. It's one of those two. But overall, man, it's just like, I want to go on this when I touch on the Bengals game too, but Bills-Bengals next week, man, those are two guys those are two teams where it's like, I'm having trust issues with them. The Bills have been, I don't want to use the word fraudulent because they're a really good football team, but they've had some fraudulent moments in them where it's like, if Tua played last week, I mean, I don't know if the Bills move on. Like, Josh Allen just, like, I don't know what it was about that game, but there's just some times where I feel like that dude knows he's a superstar, knows he sounds good, how good he is, basically, and he just tries a little too hard, it feels like sometimes, as dumb as that sounds, but Bill Simmons said it best. He said he felt like, Josh Allen tried to have like a Trae Young type game where he just basically tried to do it all himself. He saw that one deep ball worked to Stephon Diggs early in the game, so he just kept trying to throw deep ball after deep ball after deep ball, try to do all this and all that. And sometimes when you do that, like he was trying to be the hero himself when he had all those guys around him who could have done so well as well, and he just tried to put too much on himself, and he had 3 turnovers because of it. I will never trash the man, though. I think he's a really good quarterback, but I think my tendency that I'm watching with him now is he going to be able to slip that interception bug? Because, I mean, you can't, like, there was a stat that showed where they have 27 turnovers, which is the most in NFL. But they also gave away 27, which is the most in the NFL. And that's not a good formula when you're facing teams like Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs and Joe Burrow with the Bengals. Like, you give them 3 or 4 extra possessions, and you might be watching next week's game on the couch. I think that's going to be Josh Allen's biggest issue, like I said, moving forward. He needs to learn to control the ball better and protect the ball. I love how hard he plays. I love I'm not trashing him at all by any of that. I love the way he plays. I love how aggressive he is. But there's just it's to that point now where it's like, all right, man, you got to start picking times to do this because, I mean, it's just, to be fair, too, I know the Dolphins are very good at turning over the Bills. I know they're really feisty in their division, but I've just seen too many games now where Josh Allen is just like forcing a throw that he doesn't need to force because he's good enough to make the throw. Don't get me wrong. Like, he can make damn near any throw on the field, and he showed that Sunday with some of the nice throws he had. But sometimes, man, you don't got to make that tough throw. Just throw it out of bounds or check it down and move on to the next play because, yeah, it's just like there's sometimes that just gets him got, and that's going to be the big issue with the Bengals is the Bills. They have to protect the football because these turnovers are going to get them killed. They almost lost to a third-string Dolphins team who had 200 yards of offense and had 6 or 7 huge drops that were basically point droppers. I mean, Waddle dropped an easy field goal range drop. He did that twice. Tyreek Hill had a drop that was bad. But overall, I think the Dolphins played really impressive. They hung around for a third match. This is the round 3 of the Bills-Miami. Bills win the series 2-1, but very, very tough game. And with just, yeah, man, they're a 15-point favorite. You win by 3. 3 turnovers will do that. They were up 17-0, 24-0. Feels like they start to put them away, but they gave them that little bit of life, and the Dolphins hung around. And it's just, yeah, the biggest thing, like I said, I want Josh Allen to, like, watch for. What I want to watch for Josh Allen, basically, is if he do better at protecting the ball. And another thing I want to add, he needs to do better at protect himself. He takes way too many big hits, man, and I'm going to elaborate on this. I will scream this on Blue in the face. Like, he needs to protect himself. Like, don't get me wrong. 3rd and 1, go get that yard. Go run somebody over. 2nd and 10, yes, you might be able to get the first down, and it might kill you to slide short for a little bit, but I never want to be the guy to say, hey, think about yourself over the game. Like, I want him to be able to play hard, play free, and be able to go for those, like, tough runs, but there's just sometimes, man, you got to get out of bounds, slide, and just know that you're more important to the team healthy and getting one less yard than you are fighting for the extra yard, because hate to say it, I watched it with Andrew Luck for years, and now look where the Colts are at. Andrew Luck just got absolutely beaten down to basically to where mentally he couldn't do it anymore. And obviously my situation is nowhere close to Andrew Luck, but I feel him, man. I mean, I had a labrum surgery. I had injuries myself, and I wasn't even in the NFL, and it was starting to wear on me. Just like, man, this rehab is just getting annoying. 'Cause it's one thing to go through rehab, but man, you have to go through like months of rehab and just to get yourself to play, and then and you know when you play you're going to be hurt and you're going to have more rehab after it. Just, man, that's really tough on a guy. And you saw what it did to Andrew Luck. The prime of his career, he just couldn't do it anymore, couldn't take any more beatings, and he got out. And yeah, I just see that so much in Josh Allen when I watch him just have 2 guys just smash him while he's getting stood up, trying to get that extra 2 or 3 yards. It's just, I'm scared, man. Like I said, I love how hard of a football player he is, and I love everything that. But for your longevity, I hope he does a little bit better protecting himself, because he's a really good football player, and we want to see him play damn near as long as Tom Brady did, but it's going to be hard to do that if you're taking those big shots that he's taking. But that was a tough matchup. Bills move on. I'll basically touch on this game, and then when I go to my recap at the end, I won't. This is where you'll get the recap. Bills-Bengals, I'm really excited for this game. It's basically be a rematch. It felt like the Bengals might have taken that first game before Damar Hamlin got hurt, but we never know. And the one thing, like I said, I'll touch on most of these Thursday, but this is the one thing I want to bring up about this game. Why did the NFL not make this a neutral site? I just don't. They're like, yeah, let's make the AFC Championship game a neutral site if it's between like these specific teams. But why'd they not think ahead to like, oh, if the Bills and Bengals play again, are we going to make that a neutral site? Or are we just going to... They don't think they just give the Bills home field advantage, and that is huge. Like, home field advantage in the playoffs is huge, not only for like your fans and everything like that, just like weather-wise. Like, New York's weather, or New Jersey's, wherever, I'm not going to get in that argument on if they're a New York team or not, but basically wherever Buffalo's, like, wherever their stadium's at, I don't know exactly, and like I said, there's another ego thing. I ain't looking it up. I just know it's somewhere up north. They're definitely more north than Cincinnati, so, like, weather could come into effect snow-wise and all this and all that, and it's just, like I said, it's very interesting that the NFL just didn't think about this scenario if the Bills and Bengals meet again in the playoffs, but maybe they did, they just didn't really mind it. But overall, I mean, but Bills-Bengals, that's going to be an exciting game. But basically to round out man, I really loved these last 2 games. I'd say these 2 for last because I might spend the longest on them. Baltimore, you know what? I'm going to finish up the NFC side first. We'll go to Sunday night in a minute. Minnesota, New York. I said this on Captain by a Hook with the red beard. Hey, I'm going to say that again. I would love if you guys checked out his show. Obviously, do what you want to do, man. I won't force you to, but he gives out betting winners for college basketball. Big college basketball guy, and I'll knock on wood for him, man. I think he's had 2 losing days. I've been riding along him a lot and all this and all that, and I said it, and he's been doing really well, like I said. And on Friday, we were both in the same boat. Like, yep, give us those New York Football Giants. They played awesome. Daniel Jones looks like a guy. He was guaranteed a contract before this game. I think he just added a few mils to it, but the way he played in the playoffs, I mean, he looked unstoppable. If he needed something on the ground, he was getting on the ground. A throw right there. Don't get me wrong. I know the Vikings defense is Swiss cheese this year, and I know it's not the best, but Daniel Jones just looked like a guy, and I have not seen him look like this year. And Brian Daboll, Wink Martindale, amazing, amazing coaches, and man, for Minnesota, that just really sucks. Minnesota went up 7-0 early after a Kirk Cousins sneaks. Giants would answer back, go up 14-0, and it would end up being 17-7. And the Giants never looked back. They would have 17-14 lead at half, go on to finish the game strong. And I can't emphasize enough. They gave Saquon like 4 carries going into the fourth. He had 4 carries, and the Giants had a lead. And they had a lead with like these third, fourth, and fifth string wide receivers, Isaiah Hodgins, Richie James, Darius Slayton. Like, these are guys that, like, no people didn't want. They got Isaiah Hodgins off the Bills practice squad, and he's their number one receiver in targets, receptions, touchdowns, all that in yards since he's came over. And it just, man, like, I just can't get over enough. Like, I don't, it's basically me, like, almost fanboying. Like, I can't fanboy enough over Daboll and that job he's done for New York. It's just, man, like, you can appreciate really good coaching when they can just elevate a team, because you got a team that does not belong. This Giants team does not belong in the second round. This is barely even a playoff team, damn near. And Brian Daboll has these guys ready, and they play hard, and they play fast, and they just play great football now. And just, yeah, like I said, they played a really good job against Justin Jefferson as well, held him to 47 yards. They rattled Kirk Cousins all day. He was just getting hit. And for the Vikings, man, that was just a very disappointing loss. They 11-0 in one-score games, and you knew it was going to catch up to them eventually. Most people felt like it was going to be the playoffs, and that's sure enough where it was. Really sad loss for the Vikings, man. That just really sucks. They had a really talented roster, had a really fun year, and it's back to the drawing board. But, I mean, they need a new offensive line. Basically, the offensive line got Kirk Cousins killed that whole game. And they just defensively, they need a lot of help. That defense was just Swiss cheese all year. Anybody and anybody basically was having their way. Yeah, man, I just mean it was tough scene for Minnesota, because it felt like they basically stood no chance that game. Once they went up 7-0, and then the Giants went up 17-7, they basically just, lost my train of thought, won't even lie to you, but just overall, it's a really impressive win by the Giants. The New York football Giants. I'm excited for the future, man. Once it gets, just imagine this team once they get some superstars. Like, yes, they got Saquon. Okay, this was something I do want to bring up. Saquon has had a year. I loved getting him in fantasy. Everyone basically counted him out, and you could just see that it was bothering the hell out of him. Like, he just even said it on the Pat McAfee show when they were at Radio Row for the Super Bowl. He said, like, oh, yeah, I see all the messages. I see what everyone's saying about me being washed and all this, all that. And he's like, I'm coming back. I'm going to come back with a vengeance, and he just looked like a dog. He's just awesome. He's just a straight dog. I mean, he had some amazing plays in that game where it's just like, he's just like a special talent, man. So, like, once they get, like, a big receiver again, and now that they kind of have a court, like, the biggest thing is now they have a coach that's, like, really, really good. So once they get some very talented people, it's going to be really awesome. And then, yeah, like I said for Vikings, it's going to be a really disappointing season. It's kind of a look in the mirror season. They definitely have some upgrades to make. And, yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see what direction that team goes. I don't want to put this out in there, but you just got to wonder how long Kirk Cousins is going to be there. I mean, he's been there for a few years. He had a really good season this year. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve a job. It's just, usually when a team gets stagnant and they don't do too much for a while, they start to get rid of people. And they already fired the head coach and just brought in Kevin O'Connell. So usually after the coaching staffs, it's usually the players that start to go next. And one of the first players who starts to go is usually the quarterback if he's not like a big name. So it'll just be interesting to see. Like I said, I think Kirk Cousins will probably be on that team next year. But it's going to be interesting to see because he's not getting any younger. So the Vikings soon will have to move on. But with how good he played, I think he can play solid for them again. It's just the big thing is that defense. That defense needs a lot of help. They were hot buttons this year. And now we're going to the final game. This Bengals game was simply amazing. It's only for the fact because for those who are new and don't know, I'm a defensive lineman, so anytime defensive linemen do anything that's super exciting or awesome, you'll probably see me be talking or putting extra light on it, and we'll get into that big play in a minute, but this was just a good old AFC North battle. These teams played each other for a third time. I think the series was split, if I remember right. If not, the Bengals won the two, but I'm pretty sure it was split, and it was a really close game. Joe Burrow came out slinging a bit at first, and the big issue is going to be the offensive line for the Bengals. Jonah Williams got hurt, and it sounds like he dislocated his kneecap. So after having their offensive line throughout the whole season, all of a sudden, the last 3 games, basically, they've lost a lineman each game, and now they're basically playing with all backups except for, I think, like one of the guards in the center. So it's starting to get to a point where that O-line is an issue, and Joe Burrow, I think Joe Burrow is the king of reminding me of Andrew Luck. Just with how much he just gets beat up, man. It's so sad. By the way, they did split with the Ravens, so the series is now 2-1 Bengals. But yeah, man, Joe Burrow he's the most sacked quarterback throughout the playoffs so far in his first few starts or whatever in the playoffs, and he's been the most sacked quarterback. And this is really what got Andrew Luck killed, was just a battle line, man, and it just sucks. I just hate to watch a quarterback just constantly just get beat and I mean, he constantly takes shots. I mean, his freshman year, Jesus. What I meant to say was his first year, he tore his ACL because he just took too many hits, and one was just too many, and it just, yeah. So just watch, and the biggest thing is, Joe Burrow he's also a dog, but he's so good, and they can protect him. I mean, he is an elite quarterback. The issue is just those, teams can turn up that pressure, and that O-line is just paper mache and just gets ran through, especially with all the backups that are in now. So when it comes to that Bills-Bengals game, that's going to be a huge issue. That's another reason why I said both those teams make me scared, is I don't trust this Bengals O-line anymore. They just seem to not be able to hold up because, yeah, overall throughout the game, the Ravens, as the game started to go on, especially when, and I said Jonah Williams went out, he led the NFL in sacks led up with 12. So if you're the backup, he played all right. I thought he actually had a decent game, but I mean, yeah, there's a reason he's backing him up. And just overall, yeah, that line's going to be a real issue for the Bengals, but they played this game really tough. I thought the Ravens played really tough as well. The Ravens basically hung in there, and I can't remember exactly if this was the drive that happened or not, but there's a drive where Hayden Hurst basically fumbled on the third down, and this flipped. I want to say this is when it was 17-17. Hayden Hurst fumbled, and this flipped around the whole game, basically, and either the Ravens scored off this play or this led to the big play for the Bengals, but there's basically a fumble at some point that kind of started swinging the momentum. And then this basically led to a 17-all, about 10, 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And yeah, I'm getting chills just thinking about it, man. It was goal line. Huntley goes to reach the ball out. The ball gets hit away, and yeah, I just want to play I'm just going to play the audio for you. This is from the ESPN booth, obviously, from the Monday night game, and I just want to play the audio. Just Mike Tirico is going to it's going to be 20 seconds. Mike Tirico will put this in better words than I can, but this play basically changed the whole game for the Bengals. It went from, literally, this was a 14-point swing. It went from the Bengals scoring to, it went from the Bengals literally about giving up 7 and probably losing to they end up winning. It was a 40% chance for them to win the game, and then after that play, it was an 87% chance. And it was, yeah, basically, like I said, Huntley goes to reach the ball over. We've been waiting for somebody to get the ball knocked away. Ball gets knocked away, and it led to this moment. I could watch that all day, man. That is just 98 yards, longest game-winning touchdown, longest, I think, return touchdown in NFL history. I think it's longest game-winning, and I don't know if it's playoff. I think it's for sure playoff history, but I don't know for total history. But just amazing, right place, right time. As they knock the ball free, Sam Hubbard's right there, catches the ball, basically runs down the field, almost gets tackled by Mark Andrews, but thankfully got just enough of a block where he didn't get caught. And yeah, the 6'5", 260-pound man just rumbles, bumbles, stumbles. 98 yards for a touchdown. And basically, there's no more scores after the whole game. J.K. Dobbins would come out, and he was heated about just what happened. I mean, he was very frustrated. He's like, I wish I got the ball. I definitely would have scored. And I can't say I don't blame him, because I think he might have scored just the way the Bengals were playing. But, I mean, just tough call. I mean, the announcer said it best. They had, if you're going to do that, jump over the pile, you shouldn't have people in the back behind you. Because they had people in the back behind him they were going to push him. And instead of pushing him, Huntley just kind of, did a little, shimmy, basically. He was trying to find some space, and then felt like he had the spot, goes to reach the ball out, and sure enough, they just knock it away, and the rest is history. And another one I do want to mention, too, about refereeing. Refereeing on Saturday was especially the Jacksonville game. They missed a huge holding penalty. It's either offsides or holding. I think it was offsides on the offense, or false start, I guess would be the call. Jesus. It was a false start in the tackle. The tackle clearly jumped early, I want to say. It's either that or a hold. I forget which one of the two it was. But there was one of those two happened, and Joey Bosa was pissed. He basically, as he's coming off the sideline, I think one of the refs was talking to him. He said something to the refs. The refs would end up throwing a flag on him, and then that'd lead to the 2-point. That would lead to time. But Joey Bosa had like 2 or 3 instances, basically, where it's just really bad. And this led to him slamming his helmet on the ground. Staley, being the good guy he is, came to pick it up, handed him his helmet back, like, here, sir, you want to throw this again? And Joey Bosa's like, hell yeah. Spikes it again out of anger, and, yeah, he later said at the game, he's like, it was nothing against Staley. He's like, I don't know how people are making it look like Staley looked like. He's like, I'm the ass in that situation. He went out of his way to hand me my helmet, and I just go and chuck it on the ground again. Like, he shouldn't have to pick it up. It's just awkward. That's all basically Joey Bosa was saying. And then after the game, they asked him about the referees, basically, and, yeah, I'm not going to go watch that clip. If you can find a clip on Joey Bosa and the referees, it's pretty funny. He basically, the one quote I remember from it is like, yeah, the refs feel like they go in after the game and they talk to each other in the locker room. He's like, haha, got that, asshole. And, yeah, definitely watch the interview. He does not hold back with how he felt about the referees. But, yeah, basically that goes over the whole wildcard weekend. You can see the matchups. My very, very early predictions, this might not fully stay the way. I think the Chiefs will win, but they might not cover because I think the cover's like 9. I think the Chiefs win, but will they cover? Not 100% sure yet. Bills-Bengals. I think the Bengals can win that game just solely based on how the Bills played last week. So I want to say it's going to be a rematch of Chiefs-Bengals in the AFC Championship. And then on the other side, I want to say it's going to be San Fran and the New York Football Giants. I'll get into it more, obviously, on Thursday. My feelings, I think for sure I'll lock in San Fran and Cincy. I think they're both going to win. Will they both cover? We'll see. That's up for debate. But overall, I definitely think that I like San Fran and Kansas City for sure. And then when it comes to the other two games, I for sure think they're toss-ups. But I think the Giants I think they beat Philly. This is their 3rd time playing each other. Philly has won 2 of the games in the series, and this Giants team looks the best they do. Now, I definitely think there is a realistic world where they lose because they still don't have all the talent nearly that the Eagles do. It's just, the more and more I think about it, I don't know if it's me in my own head or what. It's just, that Eagles team looked rough to end the season. All the injuries just seem to pile up at the end. And, yeah, even if I think whoever moves on from that game, I think it's basically San Fran going to the Super Bowl as of right now for that side. I mean, AFC side, I think it's wide open. But for the NFC, I think it's kind of basically San Fran and then the rest of the field. San Fran just has been so dominant, like I said. Brock Purdy's just been simply amazing. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on the weekend. Overall, very fun viewing weekend. Not the best betting weekends, but I still hit a good amount. It was just, what really killed me was the Chargers game. Put a little more than I should have on it. Dallas game, I should have not bet Tampa Bay with how bad they were all season, but I talked myself into storylines. So, but props-wise, we did decent. Didn't hit, like, the fun ones, like a QB passing touchdown and those types. Didn't hit any of those, but we still hit some fun stuff. And, yeah, like I said, that's basically going to probably call it for today. We'll be coming back Thursday. I will break down all of those games, break down every single game, go through my props, the stuff I like, and then on Friday, tune in to Captain by Hook with the red beard. He goes, I want to say it's around 8 a.m. Eastern. We'll be going live. I'll be appearing on that show, and I'll give out my final betting slip of games by then. And, yeah, it was super wild card weekend. A lot of fun, a lot of exciting games. And, man, I just can't. Football's almost over, man. It's just because when you can get a real football game going with really, really good atmosphere, I mean, there's not many sports that are better than it. So, yeah, like I said, that basically does it for this week. We'll go into the next. These are your matchups going forward. We got San Fran versus Dallas, New York versus Philly, KC versus Jacksonville, and Cincy versus Buffalo. And, I mean, hey, we got divisional round up next, championship game, then 2 weeks in the Super Bowl. And it's coming, man. It's that time of season. It's nut crunching time. It's time for... It's all those analogies, man. Yeah, it's just really awesome season. Thank you all for everyone who's tuned in and been watching. I appreciate all the following. We've been doing really awesome, and I haven't done this yet at the end of one of my videos, but I'm going to do it now. If you do enjoy, obviously like and subscribe. Feel free to follow my Twitter at Jaden95Chandler. here soon, I'm gonna have a bottom bar scrolling, and it'll have like it'll basically just like tell you what some stuff that's going on and everything like that. Hopefully have that up here by the Super Bowl. I want to test run some stuff, and then yeah, just if you enjoy, like I said, appreciate all the follows and everything. We started off. Well, I think I started my first YouTube video was about late Mayish or early June-ish. I did my first breakdown of like the team each individual. And now we're at 45 subscribers. Obviously, it's not 45 million or anything big like that, but every little one matters, and I appreciate just everyone who's following and just supporting this cause, because yeah, I'm looking towards the future. Hopefully it's going to be a really bright future. Like I said, when it comes to college football season, I have a guest that I'm going to have on. Might even do some live stream of games where I'm just watching alongs, or not even live streams, like watch alongs of games. There's just a really exciting future. I appreciate everyone who's been supporting me through all the groundwork, and if you've been here since day one, man, we got it really nice right now, and it's just looking up basically. A lot of big things planned. Not enough football season left this year to do it, but man, I'm going to try to squeeze it as much as I can. Thank everyone for watching. I'll see everyone Thursday, and then hopefully see you on Friday as well. And yeah, amazing Super Wildcard weekend. I know I'm getting repetitive towards the end, but really just can't emphasize enough. Really awesome set of games. Basically all these games were close except for one, and can't wait to see what the divisional round has in store for us.